Racing online in Forza 7 is always a bit of an experience because you never know if you're going to get a semi-serious race or if it's just going to be a load of people just trying to crash you out on purpose. And what I thought I'd do for you today is show you one of my simulation GT races where it's kind of a mix between the two of being sort of semi-serious, but then also a load of people just crashing out, and just showing you the main issues Forza still has to this day when you're doing online racing. So without any further ado, let's get into the race.
So here we are then at the Yas Marina circuit. I think we're going to be starting in P4, P5. And straight away, as we go straight off, the Lamborghini comes up and rams me straight behind, which gives me a bit of a head start, but then I'm up behind this Ferrari, so I thought I might as well go onto the left-hand side, do some late braking, and get him on the inside. And then this is where all the havoc happens. And then, yeah, we got Danny Kvyat torpedoing up on the left-hand side, spinning me around completely. And, yeah, on this bit here, I was just trying to figure out my bearings, and you can see there's so much action going up ahead of me, so I actually cut the corner a little bit just because there's people on my right hand side as well, trying to get back onto the racing line. And this is where everyone is now starting to form a bit of the natural circuit and getting back into the racing line. Again, a guy trying to hit me out, and this is where I start to realize this race is going to be one of two things. There's going to be half people actually trying to race and then half people just actually trying to hit other people off. Coming now towards halfway around middle of the circuit, and this is where the natural form starts to happen. So there's currently 11 people racing, and we're currently in P7. The bad thing about Forza 7 that I find is that when you're doing online races, that you don't actually have any practice or sort of qualifying laps. It sort of just puts you into a random configuration on the grid, which is sort of, in my mind, is not a great thing, just due to the fact that you can't actually have any practice on the tracks. In each race, you just go to a completely different circuit in a different grid positioning. So you're kind of having to learn where your braking markers are going to be and also what the track configuration is as well, because you could be racing the same different countries like in Abu Dhabi, but the configuration of the actual circuit is completely different. So it's around about here that we're actually now in P6. And just starting to get into the grips of where the track is, where the braking markers are going to be. This track I know sort of relatively alright, but at the same time here, for example, I know I need to be going flat out on those last two corners and then braking into this final section here. But again, this is me just trying to figure it out. The two guys ahead of me are racing against each other, which is a good thing for us because it means they're both slowing each other down, which is the reason why we're able to come up straight up behind them. You see that I go a bit wide there because I'm sort of concentrating too much on what's going up ahead of me. I sort of want to just keep a bit of a back step and not get too involved with it because I know there might be a bit of an incident up between them. And you can see that there, that one of them goes out wide and actually hits the other driver on the left-hand side, which actually now results us in getting quite close up to the Ferrari in front of us. So I was thinking, not in this corner here, but maybe the next one going down, that we're actually going to be involved in this battle now that we're coming into it. A little bit of late braking, and he braked a bit earlier than I did, so I had to go out a bit wider and let him have the space. But then he's now catching up, I believe, to the Lamborghini in front of him. Again, he's taking a bit more reserve braking, so you can see he goes a bit off wide there because he's going a bit too quick in. But that's how we managed to get straight back into him there. But at this time, it's sort of just trying to be respectful of him. And yeah, there he's been a bit too cautious on the brakes. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to dive in and then keep onto the left-hand side. I go a bit wide there, but you can see the arrow indicator showing you that he's actually on the right-hand side. So he's giving me that space. So I diving in on a little bit of the left there, keeping that track position, but now up into P5. Hopefully keeping that Ferrari behind us, and now we're going to try and go down for this Lamborghini in front of us. I believe it is a Lamborghini in front of us, and you can sort of see there he's going a bit wide there on that corner, so we just hug on the inside and accelerate out early. Now heading down towards the straight. This is where I'm starting to get a bit more of a braking marker indication of my mind, because here this is all flat out, and then you have to use the braking markers on the left. So you see the first indicator board there, and after the second indicator, you can see there I sort of broke a bit too early there, and then having to go down on the third gear. And you can see that the Ferrari is now way up behind me. Now here's where we're going to have the guys pushing us off, the guys who are further down the grid. You can see that he's just hitting me on the right-hand side on the body, and again, going straight across my camera there. But luckily, it's just body damage. He hasn't actually done anything damaging to my suspension or to the engine or anything like that. So it's all just cosmetic at the moment. You can see here now we're going against the Ferrari. He's pushing us off on the circuit. Again, I'm going to stick onto the left-hand side because he's going to be out on the right-hand side. He's got nowhere to go, and he's going to have to give me that track position. He's still fighting me for it, so I sort of brake in front of him whilst diving across on the inside. Now a bit of a drag race into these final two sections of the track. So I've got the inside there, and you can still see on that left arrow there, he's now just pinching in, so I give him the space, and now we're going straight down to the section of the track again. It's around this section of the track where we realise that only like the top 4 guys are actually racing, including myself. So here, he's got the inside line. I'm going to try and go for the overtake on the outside, but I don't think I'm going to have it, so I allow him the space. But then he just doesn't go up on the inside. So I take that position, thank you very much, and just carry on racing there. So now up into P3, and it's around about this section of the track here where we saw all those back markers just starting to push everyone off. But because our pace is so much greater than theirs are, then we're actually going to be more overtaking them. I think we're actually going to be 2 laps ahead of them. So now they're more just messing around on track and not really sort of paying attention. So whilst we're just racing, their whole idea, I think, is just to sort of push us off, really. And you can see it from above here as well. We've got the 2 markers in front of us, P1 and P2, who are having their own little battle. But unfortunately, they're going to be encountering the other racers we're going to have here. Now, remember, we did start off with 11 drivers. We're now just down to 6. So you've got 5 other people crashing us out. And yeah, that's the Ferrari guy. I think he accidentally hit me and skidded us back round. Because we do see some later battles on with that Ferrari, and he's very respectful of just letting me go through. So I think he's all fine. And there you go. You can see that we actually gained a position. I think that's because someone who was in P3 actually went into the pits because he had too much damage, possibly from one of the other back markers. But now we're going into one of my favourite sections of the track, and here you're going to see all the back markers now who are purposely just going to try and crash us out. There you can see P1 have gone over to the right-hand side, and we've got these other 2 back markers who are going to, one's just trying to sideswipe me here, another one who does sideswipe me and crashes me in, and you can see that we've got some body damage. But at this moment on the section of the track, I'm not too sure what my damage is because I was just trying to focus on just getting out of there because there was so much kerfuffle going on. So that does mean we are now currently in P1. Because they crashed out the guy in pole position currently. But at this moment in the section of the track, I couldn't tell where my damage is. And you can see there my lines weren't fully great because the car didn't feel particularly great. It was more lenient towards the left and more onto the right. So when braking, the car would start to skid out onto the right-hand side, which made me feel like I definitely had something to do. So coming down straight here, I then come up onto my damage settings to see where I've got quickly. So you can see that I've got some right suspension and braking damage. So what I decided to do in this braking, I could go very slow and let the Ferrari come in my on my left-hand side. But he chooses not to actually take it. I think he's being a bit more respectful because he's skidding me out earlier. So maybe he was actually just giving me that position of that one chance, being like, well, you give me the opportunity to overtake, but I'm not actually going to give it to you. So maybe like next time when I do offer him the position, he might actually want to do it. But we're now onto the final lap now. So he's going to probably try and race for me. But again, I'm still having these issues. You can see there, I'm trying to turn to the right, but that suspension and braking isn't working to my favor on the right-hand side. So now my whole job is just to try and keep it behind me. We know the back markers, I know we're going to be near us. So it's now just free reign for us to go racing. This whole race has kind of been just between me and this Ferrari driver. And on the final corners here, I was really worried he's going to repeat what he did before and just come up behind me and slash me out. You can see there, gives me a little bit of a tap there. But now we're just coming onto the straight where I know I'm going to have the race win because once you've got the full power down, there's no overtaking unless you're going into the corner. And there we go. We win after 7 laps. But there you have it. That is a typical race online in Forza 7. I know this video is a little bit different to what I normally do, but if you want to see more videos like this, then make sure to let me know in the comments down below. If you want to see some more motorsport videos, then you can click subscribe, or you can click this video annotation here to see the next video. But thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.